All right, it's a good afternoon to you. Almost got 2 minutes till noon. Glad you're here today. Welcome to the Jim of All Trades channel. I am an Elliott Wave trader, and I use Elliott Wave theory in order to interpret the market and use it to see where we're headed. This is not trading advice. This is not financial advice. That is not the purpose of this channel, but it is a way to show you how I'm seeing the market. I will explain to you how I think about trading and how I go about trading and setting up trades for Litecoin. I primarily trade Litecoin, though I trade in the forex market as well. I also use Bitcoin. I like Litecoin. I believe in the product. I believe in what it is, but I don't trade Bitcoin so much. But I trade Litecoin. I believe it's more volatile. It has bigger moves, and you can make bigger income off of it. So that's why I do what I do. Okay, so where are we in Litecoin? Well, it looks like we're making an ABC off the high of $100. We are making a correction down, and we have already had an A wave. Now, whether you bring the A wave down here or the A wave is here, we ignore that wick. We're not sure. So sometimes we just, excuse me, sorry about that. I'm ignoring that wick for Fibonacci reasons and whatnot. It just looks cleaner this way as well. That's more of an anomalous wave. It shot down really fast because I was watching that real time, and shot up really fast. So this is where we are most likely. This is our A wave. We got a B correction here. We got 3 waves in B, and then we've got our C wave coming down. So just some Elliott wave rules here, just so you understand in an ABC pattern. You've got a couple different ways you can do it. You got A, B, C. And in that ABC pattern, the A is either going to have 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can. So A could have 5 waves, or get off of there. A could have 3 waves, which could be another ABC. Well, let me see if I can get her done there. A, B, C. So that's what you're looking at here. Most likely, it looks like in our A wave we've got A, B, C. We've got a 3 wave, unless there's if we went down to the lower time frames and expanded that a little bit. I'm sorry about the chart here. If we expanded that, there might be a 1, 2, and then a 2 up to here, then 3, 4, 5, like so. That might be a 5 wave A. So most likely that's what it is. Anyway, it's just sometimes hard to tell. With that being said, the B wave is always going to have 3 waves. So always it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 in some fashion. 3 waves, and then your C wave is always going to have 5 waves, always. So these are your basic Elliott wave principles. I'm simplifying it for you a little bit just so you can learn with me, but it's going to be something like that, right? So that's what we're looking at. Let me get this back over here. This is what an ABC correction is made up of: 3 waves, but primarily then you have subwaves within that. And so what we do as Elliott wave traders is we look for these patterns, and we're looking to count 5 waves, 3 waves, 5 waves, and so that's what we have coming on here. So let's get into it now. Just so you know, Elliott wave goes down to the micro. So each one of these subwaves are going to have subwaves. So this wave 1 will have 5 waves. Wave 2 will be another corrective ABC. Wave 3 will be 5 waves, and it'll be a longer wave most of the time. And then the 5th wave will be a 5 waves as well, while the 3 to the 4, that wave is at ABC. So so you can count subwaves within that, and so you can just really follow the market as it's forming these things. So as we look at this, you can really see this ABC forming, and we're almost done with it. We need another leg down. Now, I was projecting that we were already going to have it, but I'll tell you why it did not happen, and exactly as I thought it might. And I can listen. Elliott wave isn't about predicting; it's about making high probability guesses as to what is going to happen, so we can have a bias in trading, and we can wait for potential setups to come up. I don't trade every wave, but we watch these waves. We watch them form so that we can get ready for high probability setups when they come. So this A wave, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could draw those for you. Here, let me get this guy over here, and maybe that'll help us. My computer's lagging just a little bit. I'm trying to update the higher quality of video, so it's using a little bit more CPU. Yeah, this isn't the best computer for videoing, but here's the 2 in there. There would be a 3. There would be 4 there, and then our 5. So there's our 5 subwaves of A. Then you can easily see the 3 subwaves there. I'm not even going to draw it there, but you see A, B, C right there. So that means we've got to come down in 5. So how do we do that? Well, let's go ahead and click on our 5 tool here in TradingView. We're going to count this whole thing as 1 right there, and it came up for a 2. This came down for a 3. I'm going to put it right here. Now we're coming up for a 4, which means we're expecting to come down for a 5, just like that. That's what I'm expecting to happen. Still have a target. I'll explain to you how we get targets in just a moment. Now, a couple of things. Why do I think this is a good count? Well, a lot of times in Elliott Wave, what you'll have is you'll have a 1 wave, and you'll look at the level of the 1 wave, and you'll see that the level of the 1 wave often serves as resistance for the level of the 4 wave. In fact, one of the rules is that 4 really should not retrace into the level 1, and if it does, you're not looking at a 4, or you're looking at a diagonal, which is another lesson for another day. So, but you see how Litecoin just kind of came up and it tagged right where the bottom of 1 was, and it bounced off. So that tells me I think that this was indeed an ABC, but the shape of that, this 4 wave, was a little different than I expected. But here's your A wave, and you can see 5 waves in there. There's A, there's B, and now we just made the C right there. And so I think we're complete there. I'm not always never sure, but we could retest this top and then come down. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's certainly possible. So I want to zoom in a little bit and just kind of count those subwaves with you, so you can just kind of again get confidence in learning how to count these waves. So part of this this channel is to help you learn to count Elliott waves as well. So I hope that's helpful to you, and I hope you'll watch through it so you can understand how we do it. So here's our A wave, and what was our question class? What was how many waves does A need to have? If you remember, it either has 3 waves or it has 5 waves. So I'm counting 5 there, but it's more of a diagonal, but it's a little bit of a different count. So it could be 3 waves, and I'll explain both scenarios. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There it is. Now, this is a little tricky because here's your 1 wave and here's the 4 wave. They come to about the same level, but 4 comes fairly deep. Hey, listen, the market doesn't have to keep the rules, okay? So that is, again, a possibility. So we have to understand that. But if you want to look at that as 3 waves, it's possible to look at it this way. We got A, we've got B, and we've got a C right there. So that's 3 waves. Either way, it looks like a good A wave to me. Okay, so then we're looking for a B wave. That B always has to have 3 waves. So let's get our ABC here, and you'll find them right there. There's A. B came up to here, is kind of small, and then C, and that's a really nice zigzag right there. So that's perfect. And then I'm going to get rid of that just so we clean it out. So C always has to have 5 waves. Now this is a little tricky to see, but you can see them potentially here. So 5 waves we're going to have. We got a 1. We've got it down here for the 2. We've come up here for the 3. Really short 4, and we come up for a 5. Now there's a potential that this is the 4 right here, and we're coming up for 5. So that's what I'll be watching for. I'm not sure what's happening there, so we'll have to see. So if this is indeed a 4, this kind of came down to the level of 1, if you notice that. So that's a potential as a 4 wave there for this C wave to finish. Okay, so that's possible. That means in this 4 wave we should see 3 waves. So we got 1, 2, 3 ABC. Maybe it looks a little out of proportion, but it's certainly possible. Let's throw the fibs on it and see what the ratio. See what the shape of it is looking like with fibs. Let's see. Nope. To me, it's looking like this is the beginning of a 1 wave. What I'm going to teach you later on in other lessons is that when we throw the fibs on it and this 3rd wave comes down to the 1.618, that's generally a 3 wave, not a C. So the C will stop at the 1276. So that means we've got a 1, 2, 3. We've just made the 4. Now we're coming down for 5, the 5th wave of wave 1. So I'm expecting then that we should have 5 waves coming down here. So we've got 1 here, We haven't finished one yet, so it's going to come. 2 will retrace back anywhere from 50 to 60 to 75%, 78%. Then 3 will come down. 4 will test the 1 level again, and we'll finish out at somewhere around the $70 mark. So that's what I'm expecting to happen. So that's what I'm looking at, and that's the way I'm seeing the market right now from an Elliott Wave perspective. Now, how do I know other alternate scenarios? So I'm still bear right now, down to the $70 mark, $73 mark right now. How do I test other variables, or whether I'm wrong? What if I am wrong? How would I know if I'm wrong or not? Well, what we need to see then is that if this is 1, 2, this is 3 coming down for 4, and then we're going up for 5. If that's the case, that's a 5 waves right there, and then that could be the end of C again. So if we have to watch how it comes down, or if that's not the end of C, then that means we've actually got a 1 here. This is 2, and we've coming up for a 3. So how do we know whether that would be a 1, 2, 3? Let me go to the 1 hour chart just because it's slow. It makes it smaller so we can see it. I'm going to get rid of these waves for now and show you another possibility that we're potentially looking at. But I don't think it's likely, but certainly it is possible. So you've got to remember that an ABC like this looks like a 1, 2, 3. It's the same shape, okay? 1, 2, 3, and then but except we come down 4 and then 5. So that's the difference, right? So you don't always know, but we can use fib relationships to really help us. So ABCs generally react around the 100 extension of the fib relationship, or the 1276. So what we do is we take our Fib Extension Tool, place our first point on the bottom, we go to the wave 1, or A, and then come down to wave 2 at the bottom of there, and you see where it's topped out. So you see where we just had a reaction at the 1276. We also had a reaction right here at the bottom of wave 1, which is telling me we're probably going down for 5 waves. It's a high probability we're going down for 5 waves. So that is my bias, but it could be wrong. So what else could it be? Well, this could be a 1 wave followed by a 2 wave. Okay, we got 5 and 3, and then we're going to have 5 waves going up. If that's the case, we're going to have 1, 2, that was 3, this is 4, coming up for 5, third wave, okay, in this 1.618. So here's how we test. If price ends up coming up to the 1618, $86 region, you know that we're not going down to make lower lows. We're actually going, that was the end of a wave 1. Or a wave 3. So that's a 1, 2, 3. We should be coming down for a 4, and that's your entry point. If you're out of the market, that's your entry point, and then you'll come up for a wave 5, and that'll finish out. That'll finish out this particular mode of wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'll come down for C and hopefully continue on. So that's what we're kind of looking at. So we want to pay attention. But my guess is that this is a 1276 reaction. That means this ABC is complete, and we're coming down in 5 waves down to that target. I believe that that's the case. So hope that helps. I will now let's talk about trading and what we do. So we're watching this right here. It's very important to see what happens here. So what I'm expecting, let's go back down to the 15-minute chart, and I'll just remind you what I'm expecting, and then we'll see how to think about trading it. So we've got a 1, 2, we've got a 3. I'm thinking this is 4. That's very 3-wave-ish corrective, and we should be coming down for a 5, right? And I'm looking at this line right here. I'm thinking this is the place where we come down for a 5. So that means we're going to have a trade here. It's going to retrace anywhere from 50% to 78%. Okay, so let's look at what that would look like. If we take our retracement tool from the top of this wave to the bottom of where we think that wave is going to be, you're going to see that 50% would come back to the $82 range. So that's a potential trade there. So if we think that price is coming down to 79.66, we can place a buy order in here. After we see 5 waves made, we can go ahead and place a buy order somewhere down here about the $80 range, 79.50 in that range. and then ride that up if you want a really short-term scalp trade up to the $82 range. See what it's doing, but often it will just go right through the 50% level and stop at the 65% in that golden zone, or it'll even come up here to the 768. And so we watch price all the way. But here's the good thing. If this is a four wave, right, and we're heading up, trading this wave is smart, because if we're heading up, you're already in the trade, and it heads up, and you can watch what price is doing as it's going, and we can reevaluate and see what's going on. That way, you're not missing the boat on this trade if you wanted to go in on it. So this is a good idea. This is actually the way I'm going to be trading it. I'm watching price right down here if it comes here. And this is, like I said, this is 3 waves, so that tells me I'm getting 5 waves coming down. So I'm pretty confident about that. So we're going to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down. And so we're looking for an ABC coming back up, and I'm going to be looking to go long right in here. I'm in cash right now, and then we'll be looking to go long here. We're gonna look to sell anywhere from between $82 to $83. That's a quick scalp trade. But if you think about it, if you're selling, if you have 100 Litecoin and you make $3 profit per coin, there's a $300 trade. That increases your account size, and that's a very high probability, low risk trade. So we'll be watching what that looks like, but this looks like a clear 5 waves. So I think we're heading down here. Our next target is somewhere around the $79 range. Now, what also might be the case is that, remember, this is a wave 4 and we're coming up for 5, and so again, trading down here covers both scenarios. So I would recommend it, but I would recommend it if you think like me. But again, that's not advice, I guess. When I say I recommend it, I don't want to pretend like I'm giving you advice, but I'm just sharing how I think about it, and this is what I'm going to do. So I hope that helps you. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in there. Ask me if you wanted to understand something else about Elliott Wave. If you've got any Elliott Wave questions, please share. I will give another lesson about the fibs and how to use the fib tool in the future. But until then, I hope that helps you think about the market and keeps you steady until the next move. All right. I hope you guys have a great Monday.